using artificial intelligence, then screening post-larvae shrimp, then application of artificial intelligence and IoT in water quality management. We have done this, then intelligent feeding, that also we have done. Then geospatial technologies, it comes under machine learning, site selection, impact assessment, then different methodologies, analytical hierarchy process, fuzzy logic, digital database, and threat mapping modeling. I'll be brief in everything. What is artificial intelligence? Artificial intelligence is the simulation of human intelligence process by machine, especially computer system. Specific application of artificial intelligence include expert system, then natural language processing, speech recognition, and machine vision. Then artificial intelligence is the intelligence demonstrated by the machines, unlike natural intelligence displayed by human and animals, which involves consciousness and emotionality. For human and other things, we will have that emotion, but artificial intelligence will give only the results. The figure shows the main artificial intelligence. We will solve complex problem, and then finally, with the help of data, we will bring increased accuracy, and finally, we will make a decision. Actually, if you see, artificial intelligence comprises of machine learning, natural language processing, expert system, vision, speech, and planning. Under machine learning, we have deep learning, then supervised classification, unsupervised classification. Then in natural language processing, content extraction, classification, vision translation, then for question answering, then text generation. Like this, for vision, image recognition, machine vision, then speech to text, text to speech, and then again we have the robotic system. All these comes under the branches of artificial intelligence. These all I am just giving a purview so for your better understanding. Then this figure will clearly show you artificial intelligence is a big thing. In that machine learning where data science will be there, and deep learning means so much data we have to put, and then it will give the results. Why we need artificial intelligence in aquaculture? Actually, growing human population is there, and they need a protein-rich diet, and tackle the negative impact of intensive aquaculture, challenging concerns over the environmental pollution, organic loading, the disease and parasite outbreaks, need for efficient management of available resources, maximize productivity with sustainable growth. Then the artificial intelligence in aquaculture. The intersection of aquaculture and artificial intelligence has given a revolution in the fishery sector. In abroad and all, for each and everything they are using in artificial intelligence. For industry now, there's many many industries are using artificial intelligence. Through the power of artificial intelligence, intricate algorithm and predictive models are transforming the cultivation and managing the aquatic resources. In aquaculture, AI is being used to optimize various processes. They included automatic feeding system, smart monitoring of water conditions, and then early disease detection and predictive modeling for resource management. Innovative technologies are developed in different parts of the world, aiming suitable production from the aquaculture. The integration of AI in aquaculture is leading to the improved efficiency, increased productivity, and more sustainable industry. Whatever I told, I have put in this thing. Intelligent feeding, computer vision technology, use of high accuracy sensor, underwater submersible cameras, automatic monitoring, fish and shrimp behavior monitoring, size and mass measurements, counting and quality inspection, then male and female species and the stock identification, then disease monitoring. And then A in aquaculture production. It will the enhancing production and demand for harvesting. A can help predict the optimal time and quality for harvesting by using data analysis and modeling to estimate the growth rates, survival rates, and market demand. Same way, it can optimize stocking density, genetic selection, and breeding programs. AI can be used to conserve in conserving the endangered species of aquatic life form. In aquaculture, wastage of inputs can be managed through AI, and the cost can be reduced up to 30%. Thus, AI provides a complete control over the producing system with less maintenance and reduced input cost. Then how to I was telling about disease detection and prevention. uh, have revelation is the disease reduction and prevention in aquaculture. By analyzing vast amount of data, AI algorithm can identify the pattern and anomalies that could indicate the presence of the disease or health issues in fish population and shrimp. This allows for early intervention and targeted treatments, and significantly improve the overall health and the productivity of the aquaculture operations. Similarly, uh, disease monitoring also. This also the same way. AI assisted smartphone application can greatly assist the farmers for getting the real time information about the water quality. Through these application, farmers can prevent disease even before the outbreak starts. Periodically, pictures of shrimp disease, parasite, etc. are uploaded into the app by the farmers and the developers. Using these pictures, the program can learn about the disease and preserves it for future use. AI for screening post larvae of shrimp. Shrimp farming requires stocking with desired stage of post larvae. AI can be used for screening the desired stage of PL. For example, if a farmer want a requirement is PL22 or PL15 or PL8 stage, they can be provided immediately after screening the larvae using AI. Then manual screening is laborious, and we need to employ many workers for screening of the healthy seeds. So this artificial will be a handy tool. Then yeah, AI for the shrimp detection. AI underwater camera based shrimp count, length, and weight is a technology that uses artificial intelligence and the computer vision to automatically monitor the growth, population size, mortality, and the stress of the farmed shrimp. It works by using underwater camera installed below the water surface to capture the images of the shrimp in real time. Then computer vision based algorithm are used to count the number of shrimp in each image and measure the length and weight. And since it is all in the computer, it will be very fast and easy to do. The result information is sent to the software package and can optimize the feeding and harvesting models based on live data. It also shows early detection of stress symptoms in the shrimp, which can improve their survival rate, growth, and feeding efficiency. AI for shrimp count that we were speaking about just before. That photos I have kept here. AI for shrimp stress detection. This also
And the technique uses computer vision. This technique uses cameras and deep learning models to assess the shrimp digestive tract and detect any abnormalities or stress. Yeah, AI in shrimp health monitoring is first through underwater camera shrimp movement we can see and shrimp color. If it is movement is okay means it is normal. If it is not no movement means and there is some problem. Shrimp color is normal means okay. If it is a red color, there is some problem. Like this, we can monitor the shrimp health. Fish count and type detection using AI. This also same technique only. Automatic real-time deep learning combined with the neural networks and Kalman filters help to detect and classify the count fish in fish pond. This system is designed to monitor fish without the use of traditional tags, which can be harmful to the fish species. This technology has several potential applications including monitoring the fish population, tracking fish migration pattern, and assessing the human impact of human activities on fish habitats. It can also be used to improve the efficiency of fish farming operation by monitoring the fish health and the growth rate. This is that fish count and species using that figure. I have it's a small video. And routine checkup of stock. Vision-based sensors on AA devices makes it possible to analyze the swimming pattern, size, injuries, etc. on the cultured animals. These data are preserved in order for comparison in future. Expert C is an aquaculture innovation company that offers a device called a expert counter, which applies machine learning and camera to weigh, count, image and size the shrimp in seconds. This collected data are analyzed for detecting the periodic health of the stock. And now I will switch over. These are basic thing which are available in the market for the shrimp and fish monitoring. Then water quality monitoring in aquaculture. That we say IoT, IoT system, Internet of Things. Internet is a global network providing variety of information and communication facilities consisting of interconnected network using standardized communication protocol. The Internet of Things describes the network of physical objects, that is, things. They are embedded with the sensor, software, and other technology for the purpose of connecting and exchanging data with other devices and systems over the internet. Cloud computing, the practice of using a network of remote servers hosted on the internet to store, manage, and process data rather than a local server or a personal computer. What is the difference between AA and IoT? AA standard first itself I have told AA is a stands for artificial intelligence, and this is a small part in the AA stands for Internet of Things. It simulates the human intelligence and behavior. This connects the physical devices and sensor over the internet, and this makes the machine smarter and more efficient. Here it creates a network of devices that collect and exchange data, and yeah, AI analyze the data and makes the prediction. This automates the process and provides real-time data, not depend on IoT, whereas this IoT is depend on AI. Basic components of the IoT. This is first is the sensor node, then actuator controller, then cloud server, then display or smart one app. if you see uh, wireless things observing physical environment, and data collection, data processing useful information, and finally we are coming to the informed decision making. That in this only we have done this IoT based water quality monitoring for shrimp ponds. It is mm, it water quality is a critical factor for the health and productivity of the aquaculture, as it affects the growth, survival, and disease resistance of the organism. Organism means shrimp. The sensor like pH sensor, salinity, DO, temperature, then ammonia, nitrate, and nitrate are used for monitoring the water quality in ponds. IoT helps in automation of aeration also for efficient and productive system. It also helps to monitor the environmental condition of the site remotely and provide real-time background feedback to the farmers. This allows for immediate action in case of any changes that could potentially harm the farm species. If aeration, if pH is less, then aeration has to be that pH is less, it will give alertment. If alert message, if it is salinity is less, it will give alertment. So water have to be added, or salinity, saline salts has to be added. Then DO if it is less, aeration has to be aerator has to be simulated. Temperature, then ammonia and all high means that required protocol has to be followed. Like that, this IoT system will help the water quality management. The farmers are faced with numerous challenges during the production period. The lack of effective monitoring of water quality and timely intervention is a major problem. So this in IoT based water quality monitoring we have developed in SIBA. Mm. And, uh, the pH sensor used to measure the acidity, alkalinity, oxygen reduction potential. This we have, mm, and we have published a paper also. This is the protocol we have followed. pH sensor, temperature sensor, dissolved oxygen sensor, then ammonia sensor, then power supply, and the controller is Arduino or Raspberry. And then we developed a database, and through internet it will come. And through wireless you can come in smart phone also it can come. This is the thing we have checked the thing, and it was working well. uh, Actually, data visualization in three different methods we can make: online data visualization, Bluetooth data transfer, SMS based data transfer. Then IoT based DSS. Um, Here also, we didn't limit with the only IoT. We put a decision support system so that it will take action also. That we have published a paper on this. Then but any technology will have some challenges. The challenges of IoT are insufficient testing and updating, then concern regarding the data security and the privacy, software complexity, then data volumes and integration, then integration with the AI and automation, then constant power supply. All these things are required, and these are the challenges we need to develop this for higher whatever we have done, it's a prototype, and we are now presently doing to integrate whole pond system, shrimp pond feeding, and then water quality, then underwater camera through biomass estimation, all those things together. One project we are doing it under NABARD. Application of minute. Water quality is a critical factor. It needs constant monitoring by human. AI system maximize minimize the human intervention, which would result in cost saving and timely solution of the problem. A software program can do logical calculation and determine if the levels are within the optimum range or out of it. If the values are out of range, then the application displays the remedial solution. This can trigger necessary action. Um, this we have already discussed. Then another thing is the thing which we are doing is intelligent feeding. Feed is a component contributing 50 to 70% of the production costs. So feed wastage is a serious economic loss in shrimp ponds. It creates deterioration in water quality, polluting the pond due to over application. Traditionally, farmers are broadcasting feed using hand. This uncontrolled feed liberation to pond affects the water quality. So, intelligent feeding can overcome the above mentioned problems. AI feeding system for shrimp. Too less or too high feeding is harmful. Less feeding results in reduced growth, and excess feeding results in excess feeding results in yeah, results in that environmental, that pond environment deterioration. Therefore, determining the amount of feed and feeding frequency remains more of an art in aquaculture. Hence, there is a need to develop intelligent controls for feeding that are sensitive to environmental condition and growth status. In recent year, intelligent feeding control, according to the changes in behavior and growth status, has gained increased attention. The aim is to bring the FCR 1:1. Um, Another thing is the AI use vibration based sensor and acoustic signals also. This will help in differentiating a hungry fish and shrimp from that of which is very full. AI feed dispenser which release the right amount of feed at the right time. The device can reduce cost of feed by reducing the wastage. And artificial intelligence add the scope of complete automation and control in feeding. This feed can release the appropriate quantity of feed at a predetermined time schedule. The time is based on uneaten feed remaining in the pond. It uses the sensors for feed detection, automatically detecting the feed particles in images using downward pointing lens. Underwater images of feeding fish can be transmitted via tableland to a feed boat. Measured by, then this can be measured by image processing technology. Then this is in addition to feeding, the swimming speed, direction of fish change during feeding can be studied. Computer vision technology provides an automatic no contact method for analyzing the feeding behavior of the fish. Its development is relatively simple and provides a new approach for analyzing the fish appetite and feeding activity with efficient monitoring and feedback tools. The study of feeding behavior is mainly focused on analyzing the individuals and groups. Using a single camera, has obviously advantage in obtaining the information, and area of an image of a fish is closely related to is biomass estimation also. We need to estimate. An underwater camera is used to detect the changes in behavior. The most significant application of underwater video are fish detection and species identification. When using computer vision technology to analyze the fish feeding behavior, it is generally necessary to detect the position of the fish to track them, and the tracking accuracy directly affect the results. Then another next one is based on the feeding behavior parameter, the index qualifying the feeding activity such as image processing activity index and computer vision based feeding activity index can we can develop based on AI. With the development of artificial intelligence technology, a feeding machine that can calculate feed in real time can be developed using acoustic monitoring, computer and sensor together integrated. And this we have developed the solar powered automatic feeder. It is a timer based one, and we have uh, that three pipe and with a little slight cone shape, slight upward, 30-degree upward, so that the feeding will be more. And so we have developed solar powered and solar powered with AC and DC motors. And this is this thing is now this um, with we are integrating with IoT based water quality monitoring, so that the complete pond system has been integrated with monitoring of fish behavior, monitoring of the shrimp behavior, then aerator actuation, then then for each parameter, pH means automatically it should inform all those things together we are doing now. Then this is some example applies machine learning, which applies machine learning and camera to weigh, count, image, and size the shrimp in second. These collected data are analyzed for detecting the periodic health of the stock. Actually, this also another another app where that visible layer, first hidden layer, second hidden layer, third hidden layer, all those things together, we will use which applies machine learning and camera to weigh, count, image, and size in the shrimp in second. These collected data are analyzed for detecting the periodic health of the stock. This also an example of this thing only. And species, similarly, AI for species identification. That also a DL model is there. Machine learning, and that all our statistics, the branch of artificial intelligence called machine learning, focus on creating statistical models and algorithm that let computers to carry out the task without the need for explicit programming. The goal of machine learning is to enable the computers to learn from the data and improve their performance over the time. Types of machine learning, that first itself I have told, it is supervised learning, unsupervised learning, and reinforced learning. Supervised learning utilizes the labeled data set to train a model, teaching the algorithm to recognize the link between input attributes and matching output labels. After training, the model may forecast new unregulated data. And this is the supervised learning, and all our AHP, then fuzzy logic, all the programs come under supervised learning. This is the type. that whatever I told, it is in a pictorial form. This also detailed pictorial form. Unsupervised means what? Supervised mean what? Reinforcement learning means what? And end-to-end uh, machine learning program. And same way, this is also machine learning process. First raw data, then we will pre-process the data by iteration. Then finally, we will prepare the data, and after that, apply the learning algorithm to the data, and then again I iterate. Then the model will come and display the chosen model, and then it can be used for application. This also like that only. uh, First, that pre-processing it, first data injection, data cleaning, missing value handling, outlier detection, then data normalization, then data transformation. Now I will talk about the geospatial techniques. GIS. GIS is also a sort of AI process only. In that, deep learning, I told no, supervised. Uh, Unsupervised learning, they are a fuzzy analytical hierarchy process based potential cage forming area mapping for ecotourism development. This also we have done. Then analytical process based aquaculture site selection mapping, it is for land based. Then analytical hierarchy process based shrimp farm impact assessment, that for that also we used. Then drone and sentinel imagery based flood mapping and modeling. Then algal bloom mapping using sentinel 2 and drone. Mm. In the fuzzy analytical hierarchy process based potential cage forming area mapping for ecotourism was developed for Muttukadu Lagoon. Water quality, then environmental issues, then accessibility factors were considered as a main factor for identifying the suitable cage farming sites. 14 designated sample points covering the lagoons were identified, and the water samples were collected and analyzed at monthly intervals from December 2019 to January 2022. Each factor was further subclassified and ranked by assigning appropriate weightage to the fuzzy analytical hierarchy process. One of the it comes under multi criteria decision model. For sustainable farming, it is important to consider the ecological sensitive areas and other constraint factors. Considering all the things, we have identified the potential area, and FAH analysis we have done, and this is a constraint map, and the cage forming area was identified, and it is around 0.93 hectares. This thing also we have published. Then is land based. This is open water. We can put the cages and pen. For that only I showed that. And this even land resource mapping, how much area we can extend, and for that also we have done an done a AHP method, and this potential area for aquaculture expansion, that we have done. Then for impact assessment of groundwater sampling location, for that also AHP GIS made AHP for Kadlur district we have done. Then drone. Uh, AI-based drones in aquaculture. Drones also drones will be equipped with sensor, and it can collect and analyze water quality data such as turbidity, temperature, dissolved oxygen, etc. These data can be easily accessed through the smartphone connected to the drone, and the drone could be used for mapping the shrimp farm effectively, for creating digital database by capturing and processing the image by the use of the software. Drone can monitor the farm, especially large farms, which could take more time for manual monitoring. This is power ray, and it's a one type of um, uh, drone which can explore the underwater world also. And uh, flood mapping for using a drone, we did flood mapping during which now it's a 2015 one flood has come and havoc all our this thing. In that time we used this the flood mapping analysis. Detailed flood analysis was carried out to map and identify the flood vulnerable area in Kovalam Experimental Station. Study area was about 64.55 acres. It consists of four parcel of the land: Thiruvadandai 1, Thiruvadandai 2, and Kelambakam and Tayur. And when that surveying was done with a Mavic 2 Pro drone to obtain the high resolution, realistic view, and elevation of current scenario in the study area. Then DGPS and total station survey was done at 60 and 134 locations, especially to improve the accuracy and obtaining the ground and water elevation data. Drone data was processed using ArcGIS Drone 2 map software. And this is the place where we done that this thing. And and we could do the water level during low tide 2.9 meter flood height, and during the for low tide zero point 0.8 meter, like that we have modeled the uh, places. Flood simulation in Muttukadu. Then another thing is we are working on algal seaweeds, and last during May 2023, we found a massive bloom of green macroalgae, and we studied using that Mavic 3 Pro drone, which is with us, and the spatial distribution of the seaworld was mapped using floating algae index, modified the floating algae index, and normalized difference red edge index and seaweed index. Four models we have studied, and then we have come out with the good among the four which is best, and we found the thing. And this is the drone map. We this we can open and see it. இல்லையா? This is a small video clip which you could see how that ulva lactuca has bloomed the area. Actually, these are harmful. If a bloom is there, it is harmful. But if we collect it and use for industry, it is beneficial for the people and industry, because ulva is a good species, and it can give so many. It is actually a edible seaweed. Uh, Okay, na? And this paper has been published also. With this, I will end my lecture. Hope I made everybody clear about what I spoke. Uh, and if any doubts or anything you wanted to know, you can ask. Thank you.
Dr. Nilarekha, are you able to hear me?
I couldn't hear you, ma.
Yeah, thank you. It was a very detailed presentation and also shows the effort which has been made, given from your side. And we were able to gain insights into the use of AI. And thank you so much. So we are all praying for your speedy recovery also. And take care. Take
Uh,
care, madam. Thank you so much. Thank you very much.
and thank you so much for the opportunity, ma'am. Really, I'm thankful to you.
Thank you. Thank you. Bye.
Harish. சார் அடுத்து இருக்கிறாரு ஆல்ரெடி இருக்காரு ஷேர் பண்ணுறதுல வந்துட்டார் உள்ள ப்ரெசென்ட் ஆகுதா ப்ரெசன்டேஷன் ப்ரெசன்டேஷன் இல்லை ஆக்சுவலாக அவரே ப்ரெசென்ட் தான்
So we are going to the next presentation by Dr. P. Shankar Rao. So let me take this time to introduce our speaker, Dr. P. Shankar Rao. He is presently serving as Technical Director in Coastal Aquaculture Authority, Government of India. I welcome sir for the presentation.
Yeah, thank you so much, sir. Thank you very much for the introduction. So, good afternoon to everybody. I'm Shankar, the Director from Coastal Agriculture Authority. First of all, I would like to thank all the organizers of this workshop for inviting me as a special. But I could not able to attend physically because I was involved in a fixed bar Sankalpa Yatra. Right now, so basically, I am from Coastal Aquaculture. So I want to present you briefly on the overview on coastal aquaculture sector in Andhra Pradesh. Sorry, in India. Sir, please share that PPT, sir. I could not able to share that screen. Yeah, thank you. Please make it slideshow. Yes. Yeah, next slide, please. I present you briefly on the Indian fishery sector in global as well as the contribution of the fishery sector in the national economy. Actually, last year we have achieved the target production of about 1,62,000 metric tons in the from the country, and which is about 8% of the total global production. And we stand in the second place in the coastal aquaculture production, and we are the second largest aquaculture shrimp producer in the world, and the fourth largest inland capture fish production in the world, and we are the fourth largest exporter in the world, and the third global fish production in the world. So coming to the contribution of the fishery sector in the national economy, so uh, so the fishery sector is contributing nearly 6.72% in the GVA of the agriculture sector. Coming to the national GVA, our fishery sector contribution is 1.09%, and the average annual growth for the last 2 decades is 8.61. And this sector is creating livelihood for nearly 2.8 crore fishers, and the growth rate during the last year is 10.3%, 10.34%, and through fishery sector, the country is earning about 64,000 crores through seafood exports. Next slide, please. This is the overall scenario of the fish and shrimp production in the country for the last 2 decades. So our fish production was enhanced from 7.52 lakh metric tons to 162.48 lakh metric tons in 21-22. So for the last 2 decades, our fish production has increased 22 folds, and the average growth rate of the last year is 10.3%. And the coming to the marine fishery sector, there is almost a stagnation in the fish production. But the fish production from the aquaculture sector, particularly from inland aquaculture sector, it is increasing abnormally. So that is compensating the marine fish production. So coming to the drivers of the growth for fishery sector is technology, infusion and destination. In the earlier presentation, Madam also presented briefly about the role of the artificial intelligence in the aquaculture sector. So such advanced technologies and including artificial intelligence and should be applied in aquaculture sector, and the technology should be disseminated, and we have to promote the aquaculture farmers for the adoption of technologies, and we have to attract the investments by the private sector, and there should be friendly and amicable implementable policies to promote the aquaculture sector, and we have to invite the public and private sectors for promoting and expansion of the aquaculture sector. Next slide, please. So this slide shows the status of seafood exports from the country. So our seafood exports enhanced from 8,600 crores to nearly 64,000 crores. So coming to the quantity wise, the seafood exports quantity wise, the cumulative annual growth rate is 7.3%. In terms of value, it is 14.3%, and in terms of US dollars, it is 10.11%. So among the seafood exports, the frozen shrimp is playing a very vital role, and it is the major item in the seafood exports, and it is nearly contributing 68%. During last year, the frozen shrimp contribution is 68% out of the total seafood exports. And during the 2021-22, the frozen shrimp contributed nearly 75.11%. So this is, so as such, you can understand that the frozen shrimp is the major commodity in the seafood exports from the country. Next slide, please. So this is the seafood export performance in the country. So we are exporting nearly to 129 countries, and the USA is the major importing country with 33% share, and other major importing countries are China, Vietnam, Japan, and Thailand. So for these 5 countries, we are exporting nearly 67% of the total seafood exports. So among the seafood exports, shrimp is contributing nearly 68%, and frozen fish it is 8.5%, and surmi 4%, and squids it's only 6%. So this is the status of the our seafood exports during the last year. So last year our exports valued about 64,000 crores, and we have about 1,300 exporters in the country. They are registered with the MPDA, Marine Products Export Development Authority, and they are exporting regularly to the 129 countries. and we have nearly 612 processing plants, and their installed capacity is nearly 36,000 metric tons per day. But out of that, only 30% area, the capacity is now under utilization. So the production from marine production is only 3.5 million tons, but whereas the aquaculture production is 1.16 million metric tons. So coming to the 2024-25, we are targeted to achieve 12.5 billion dollars, and by 29 to 30, we are targeted to achieve 18 billion tons. Next slide, please. So coming to the coastal aquaculture sector. So in coastal aquaculture sector, the Penis indicus, Lithopenius venami is the major commodity, and which is contributing nearly 96% of our total shrimp production, and the Penis monodon, which is our native species, indigenous species, is contributing only 4% of the total shrimp production. This Lithopenius venami is the exotic species, and we are importing the brood stock from overseas suppliers from Hawaii, Thailand, Florida, USA, and Singapore, and other countries. And we are importing the brood countries, and that hatchery operators, by using this brood stock, they are producing the SPF seeds, and they are supplying to the farmers. So this is the scenario of the coastal shrimp culture in the country. Next slide, please. So this is the status of the brackish-water aquaculture in India. So in India, we have about 1.992 lakh hectares of area under brackish-water aquaculture. So in Andhra Pradesh, the majority of the area is existing. Nearly 50% of the total aquaculture area is located in Andhra Pradesh, and followed by West Bengal with 30.06%, and Tamil Nadu 4.29%, and Gujarat 5.8%. So the brackish-water aquaculture area was almost doubled in the last 12 years, and the shrimp production has been enhanced from 75,000 metric tons in 2019 to 11.61 lakh metric tons in 2022-23. And our exports are also increased from 8,175 crores to 43,135 crores. And AP state is the leading exporter, particularly the shrimp, frozen shrimp, and followed by Gujarat, Odisha, and Tamil Nadu state. And this sector is the coastal aquaculture sector is creating employment. They are providing the sector is providing employment to the nearly 8 lakh rural folk, either directly or indirectly. In aquaculture industry, the annual turnover is 20 to 25,000, and the overall export from shrimp during 2023 was nearly 7.11 lakh metric tons, which cost about $5.41 million. So the culture shrimp, among the culture shrimp, the venami is contributing nearly 90% of the total shrimp exports, which is about 6.43 metric tons in 22-23. And the USA is the major importing country of our culture shrimp. So the state-wise figures are also given in the table also. So Andhra Pradesh alone is contributing nearly 80.1%, 80% of the total culture shrimp production in the country, and followed by Gujarat with 5.39%, and West Bengal with 6.09%, 6.06%. Next slide, please. So coming to the coastal aquaculture, so we have a national regulatory body, that is Coastal Aquaculture Authority. As per the orders of the Supreme Court, the Government of India constituted Coastal Aquaculture Authority, of India in 1995. Subsequently, in 2005, the Coastal Aquaculture Authority was constituted. The main mandate of the Coastal Aquaculture Authority is to ensure that the coastal aquaculture activity shall not cause any detriment to the coastal environment. So the area from HTL to 2 kilometers that comes under the purview of the Coastal Aquaculture Authority. So all the water bodies having more than 5 ppt are coming under the Coastal Aquaculture Authority. Next, please. So the Coastal Aquaculture Authority is mainly responsible for regulating and promoting the sustainable coastal aquaculture in India. So coming to the farm-wise shrimp farms located in India, nearly 90% of the farms are only small farms, having an extent up to 2 hectares water spread area. Medium farms, that is ranging from 2 to 5 hectares, it is only 9.4%, and 5 to 10 hectares, it is only 0.9%, and above 10 hectares, it is only 0.3%. So you can understand that most of the 90% of the farms are small farms having less water spread area, the minimum water spread area of about 2 hectares only. So in every under Coastal Aquaculture Authority, district level committees were constituted, and divisional level, sub-divisional level committees were constituted, and all these sub-divisional committees and the district level committees, they will be up and process the applications, and they recommend to the CAA for registration of all the coastal aquaculture farms. So in India, we have jurisdiction in 9 coastal districts and 4 union territories. So in all 9 coastal districts and 4 union territories, about 71 district level committees were constituted, and nearly 528 plus officers are involved in promotion and regulation of the coastal aquaculture in India. Next slide, please. So coming to the status of coastal aquaculture, the CAA has registered nearly 46,000 coastal aquaculture farms with a total farm area of 70,211 hectares and a water spread area of nearly 47,574 hectares. So this is the scenario of the coastal aquaculture farms registered with the CAA. Next, please. So the CAA is also registering all the coastal aquaculture, the shrimp hatcheries, which are producing the seed of L. venami, Penis monodon, and the other marine finfish also there, and polychaete worms, scampi, all these hatcheries which are located within the CAA jurisdiction. For that, the CAA is registering all the hatcheries, and without registration, the hatchery operators are not supposed to produce any seed. And so if they produce a seed without a CAA registration, it will be treated as unauthorized and illegal production, and immediately legal action will be initiated against that unauthorized units. Next slide, please. Next slide, please. So as on date, we have registered nearly 506 hatcheries, and they are having the total capacity of previous slide, please. About 1 lakh million seed they can produce. So we are self-sufficient in production of the seed. So our hatcheries are positioned to produce and supply the sufficient quantity of seed to all our coastal aquaculture farmers. And CAA is also registering all the aquaculture inputs and issuing certificate of compliance for all aquaculture inputs, stating its antibiotic-free status, because the antibiotics are strictly banned for usage in aquaculture. So far, we have registered nearly 4,637 aquaculture products. So far, we have registered, and we have issued certificate of compliance to all the products. So basically, we have stimulants and drugs. So these are 8 categories. We have categorized all these aquaculture inputs, and accordingly, we are registering all these products. So the input suppliers actually, whenever they want to get documents, including health certificate, a license from FSSA, and ISO certificate. So after scrutinizing all these certificates, and after ensuring that the products are free from banned antibiotics, then only the CAA will issue the certificate of compliance for all these aquaculture inputs. Next slide, please. So the CAA, in addition to the above activities, CAA is also technically monitoring the Aquatic Quarantine Facility Center, which is operating by Rajiv Gandhi Center for Aquaculture. It is basically, it is a sister unit of the MPDA. So actually, this aqua quarantine facility is mainly meant for screening the brood stock. So L. venami, Lithopenis venami is the exotic species, as you know that. So whenever we are importing the brood stock from approved overseas suppliers, that brood stock is subject to quarantine at the AQF center. So as per Animal Importation Act, whatever the animal we are importing, that should be screened for some OIE and non-OIE diseases. So for that, we have only one aquatic quarantine facility center at Nilankari in Chennai. So that is operating by RGCA, and the CAA is technically monitoring the operations of the aquaculture AQF center, and ensuring that as per the SOPs, this AQF facility is operating. So immediately after importing the brood stock by the hatchery operators, it will be shifted to AQF center in the designated vehicle. There they will screen the screen the broodstock for all OAE OAE listed diseases, and they will keep the broodstock for 5 days, and after quarantining all the broodstock, if the broodstock is free from all enlisted pathogens, then only they will permit the hatchery operators to shift the broodstock to their hatcheries and to produce the seed. If any positive cases are reported, immediately that entire broodstock will be discarded, and it is subject to incineration in the concerned chambers. So that broodstock will be completely cut out, and it will not be permitted for any seed production and this thing. So this is the biosecurity that we are following. The main objective of this ATF facility is not to allow any pathogens through broodstock into our country. Next slide, please. So under surveillance program also, the CAA is frequently visiting the farms, hatcheries, and sometimes we are collecting the samples from hatcheries and farms, and we are testing the samples for antibiotic traces in MPD RGCA labs and some NAB accredited labs. If any positive report is reported, immediately we are initiating action against that concerned hatchery or farm. And we are closing, sometimes we are also closing that units also. So we are also ensuring the SPF broodstock of the overseas suppliers every year, and we have already empaneled nearly 16 overseas suppliers for supply of L-Venami broodstock, and 3 overseas suppliers for import supply of Penis monodon in the country. So in addition to that, the CAA is also promoting the biosecurity standards in the farm at a hatchery level. So all the farms which are doing L-Venami culture, the hatcheries which are producing L-Venami seed, they should invariably, they have to follow the biosecurity standards which were published in the CAA guidelines. So under surveillance program, we are ensuring for compliance of all these standards. Next slide, please. Next slide, please. So coming to the various institutes, previous slide, please. So the slide is not visible, I think. But coming to the institutes and universities that are closely associating with the coastal aquaculture and promoting the coastal aquaculture in India mainly includes CA is basically a statutory body which is functioning with a mandate to regulate and promote a sustainable aquaculture in the country. In addition to that, ICR institutes like SIBA, CMFRA, CEFT, MGFGR, CSMS, CRA, all these institutes are working for coastal aquaculture, and MPDA RGCA, which is comes under the Ministry of Commerce, they are also working for coastal aquaculture, and NABARD, all fishery state departments and UT departments, CDSO, Central Drugs Control Department, NFDB, Pollution Control Boards, FSSA, NIOT, universities, and the Ministry of Fisheries Department of Government of India. All these institutes are mainly working for the promotion of the sustainable coastal aquaculture in the country. Next slide, please. Recently, the government of India has launched a mega program under title of Pradhan Mantri Matsya Sampada Yojana. The main objective of this PMMSY scheme is to promote both fisheries and aquaculture activities, and also to promote the establishment of infrastructure facilities and to address the critical gaps in the infrastructure needs. So accordingly, the total outlay of the entire PMMSY is about 20,000 crores, and the implementation period is for 5 years. It is from 2020 to 24-25. So under this PMMSY scheme, the government of India is providing 40% subsidy for general, that is for general category, out of which 26% is borne by the government of India, and 14% borne by the respective state governments. And for women and SC/ST fishermen, the government of India is providing under PMMSY of 60%, out of which 36% is the government and 24% is the state government share. Next slide, please. Next slide, please. Next slide, please. Yeah, the main objective of the PMMSY scheme is to, previous slide, please, completely harnessing the potential, because we have a very diversified and potential water bodies, and we are not fully utilizing all these water bodies. So it is proposed to harness the complete the potential resources of the India, and to enhance the fish production and productivity from all capture and culture water bodies, and to modernize and strengthening the value chain facilities, and to promote the post harvest technologies, and ensure the quality management and the improvement in the and hygienic handling of the fish and fishery products, and doubling the fishers and fish farmers is the another major objective, and enhancing the contribution to the GVA. That is right now the fishery sector is contributing nearly 6% to the agriculture GVA, and to enhance this GVA in agriculture also, it is mainly targeted, and also provide socio-economic security to all the fishers and other stakeholders who are depending on the fisheries and aquaculture sector, and to promote the robust fisheries management through regulatory framework. So these are the 7 objectives of the PMMS scheme. Next slide, please. Next slide, please. Next slide. Next slide, please. So coming to the diversification, the previous slide, please. So diversification is the need of our now, because in coastal aquaculture, particularly in shrimp culture, we are largely depending on the venami only. But it is also now it is greatly infecting with EHP and white fecal syndrome. So if this disease continues, in some few years the venami culture will be also collapsed. At present, previously we have depended on the Pinus monodon, which is our native species, but due to effect of that white spot syndrome virus from 2002 onwards, so that production was drastically reduced. So now we need to focus more on alternative species, and we have to promote potential and commercially available alternative species for coastal aquaculture, particularly. In shrimp, the SIBA is now promoting the Penis indicus, which is our native species, and the Penis japonicus and Penis mergiensis are also there. So we need to promote these alternative species in the place of L. venami. In marine fin fishes, we have about 10 species, particularly sea bass, groupers, mullets, mussels, pampano. Some 10 species are there. So we need to promote, and we have to standardize the technologies for farming as well as for seed production. So this marine fin fish also we need to promote. And another promising sector is edible oysters and mussels. So we have a lot of potential. We need to promote these edible oysters also. And another important sector is seaweed. So this seaweed culture area, this sector is actually 2 species are there, that is mud crab and orange crab. So this is Scylla serrata and Scylla oceanica, and these 2 species are there. And in addition to that, Volosia is also there. So these 3 species are quite suitable for culture in the coastal waters. So lobster is another alternative species. And in marine ornamental fish, the CMFR has already developed a technology for seed production and growth technology for 2 species, particularly damselfish and clownfish. So these 2 fishes or marine ornamental fish need to be on large scale for export for both export and domestic usage. Next, another important sector is parallel farming. So this is also we need to promote this parallel farming as a one of alternative in the coastal under mariculture. Next, please. Next slide, please. Yeah. So recently, the SIBA, Central Institute of Backwater Aquaculture, which is a ICR institution, they have under genetically improved Penis indicus, they have developed the genetically improved broodstock, and they have also produced a quality seed under GP program. So they have supplied that seed to some farmers who are identified at different locations, and recently they have conducted one harvesting program in Nelluru. So you can see all the photos of the Penis indicus harvesting program in Nelluru. Recently, just 10 days back only, this program was organized. So it is very so successful, and the farmers are very happy with the result. Actually, that farmer has stocked in about 1.6 lakhs seed in 1.6 acres. That means 1 lakh seed in 1 acre. So he harvested nearly 2.5 metric tons. So the growth rate up to 20 grams is very fast. It is on par with other species like Venami. So the production cost is very less when compared to Venami. So the production cost within 90 days, he harvested nearly 1.6, 2.5 metric tons with 50 count. That is each species is weighing about 20 grams. So the production cost per 1 kilo is approximately it is 200 rupees. But he disposed the catch for 300 rupees for Dubai market. That means for every kg he is getting a margin of 100 rupees, which is absolutely good. So it is a quite a remunerative price for the farmers, and some of other farmers in the Nellore area is also they are also interested to stock this Penis indicus. And one good thing is it is at present it is resistant to white fecal disease and EHP. Though the surrounding part of ponds are affected with EHP and WFS, but this pond is not at all affected so far. So it is a good sign. It is really a good hop as an alternative species in the coastal aquaculture. Next slide, please. So coming to the seaweed farming, it is a major income generation for most of the women in the Ramananthapuram and Mandapam areas. And CMFRA is promoting this seaweed culture, and other institutes like CSM, CRI, and they are also promoting the seaweed culture. So many species are there, but largely the Gracilleria and Copperficus, these are the two major species. And under raft culture and tube culture and tube net culture and tube culture, this seaweed culture they are taking up, and they are women they are harvesting the seaweed within 45 days, and they are getting good profits out of this seaweed farming. And we need to intensify this seaweed farming for promoting livelihood opportunities for major women in the rural areas particularly. Next, please. Under PMMSS scheme also, the government of India is promoting this marine ornamental fish culture, parallel edible oysters, and this seaweed farming also. So we need to intensify this seaweed farming in all feasible areas. So the CMFR has already identified some feasible locations in India. They have surveyed all the coastal districts and the coastal states, and they have identified some feasible locations, and accordingly they have provided the geo coordinates to all the states for promotion of this the seaweed culture. So, but still we need to promote this seaweed culture by promoting required infrastructure facilities. Particularly, we have to establish more number of hatcheries for production of seed and supply of seed material to the women groups, and we have to establish more processing units also, and we have to give trainings to the women on hygienic handling of this harvested produce, and there should be some marketing type also, so that the women can get a remunerative price for their harvested seaweed. Next slide, please. Next important sector is edible farming of oysters and mussels in raft culture, and in particularly in some Maharashtra and Kerala. This oyster, Maharashtra, Karnataka, Kerala, and some areas of Tamil Nadu and Goa, this oyster culture is going on. So the farmers mostly they are involved in this oyster culture, but clearly they are doing oyster culture through raft culture. So this activity also we need to intensify for promoting employment to more women in the rural areas. Next slide, please. So regarding promotion of this bivalve culture also, we need to establish more hatcheries, and we have to empower the women, and their capacity needs to be supported with some trainings and skill development programs, and there should be some marketing types to facilitate the women to get remunerative price for their produce. Next slide, please. These are all new coming. These are all new focused areas under PMMSY, and the government of India is promoting with 60% subsidy to all fisherwomen to take up this seaweed farming or mussels farming. And the next important area is mud crab fattening, mud crab farming, Actually, some of the farmers, they are doing mud crab farming in their abandoned shrimp farms, and some farmers, they are doing mud crab fattening. So by stocking some 50 to 100 grams crabs in some abundant shrimp farms, and feeding highly nutritious and fat content material feeds. So they are getting good growth within 3 months, and force after retaining some 500 grams or 600 grams, immediately they are going for harvesting, and they are sending to the for international market. So yes, in some farmers, they are also doing this mud crab farming in box cultures, and some farmers, they are doing soft mud crab farming also. So in international market, there is a good demand for the soft mud crabs. So after moulting, these crabs will be immediately they will be exported to the other countries, particularly in Singapore. There is a good demand for this soft shell mud crabs. Next. But the thing is here, next slide, please. The availability of the seed is the major problem, but at present, the SEBA and MPDA RGCA, they are producing the seed and they are supplying the seed to the farmers. But for a brood stock, we are majorly depending on the wild collection. We are collecting the mud crab brood stock, as well as for the sea bass and all. We are purely depending on the wild catch only. After bringing that brood stock in hatchery, we are producing the seed. But we have to standardize the technologies for developing the genetically improved brood stock, and to supply that brood stock to the hatcheries for producing the seed. So next important area is marine finfish culture. So about more than 10 species are there for this marine fish feed culture in coastal waters, particularly sea bass, cobia, milkfish, grouper, and mullet and pampano. These are the very commercial species for marine fish culture, and these species can be cultured either in pens or in open water bodies of brackish water forms. And in mariculture, the for cage culture, the sea bass is quite suitable species for cage culture in cage culture in open coastal waters. So next slide, please. So for promoting this marine fish also, we need to establish more hatcheries, and accordingly we have to standardize the feeds, because most of the farmers, they invest more than 60% of their production cost on exclusively on feeds. So the feed cost is very important in deciding the total production cost. So the farmers, they have to reduce the investment on their feeds. The SEBA also, they have developed some feeds, and they are giving formulas to the farmers after having a MOU. So the farmers, they have to develop their farm feeds using local ingredients, and so that they can reduce the investment on the feeds. So hatcheries also, we need to establish for producing, for supplying the quality seed for the aquaculture farmers. So this is also one of the potential alternative species for L. venami. So accordingly, we need to establish cold chain facilities, and we have to explore the international market for this farmed marine finfish also, so that only then only the farmers will get a good price for their finfish. In sea, the for sea bass in international market, the average price is nearly 600 rupees per kilo. So for mud crab, that international price is nearly 1200 to 15 rupees. So these are more commercial species, and it is fetching a very high price compared to venami or Venus monodon. So certainly it is we need to promote all these commercial species in coastal aquaculture. So next, please. And accordingly, we have to supply a good quality of aquaculture inputs also, particularly seed, feed, and all these things, which should be free from all banned antibiotics. Then only the farmers can harvest a very good quality aquaculture produce. Then only the in international market, they can get the good price, that premium price they can get. If the exported product contains any antibiotic residues, immediately the importing countries, they will reject the consignments. Ultimately, the farmers will lose heavy losses. So that situation should not be repeated. So for that, we have to strictly regulate the all the banned antibiotics. That we will discuss in the later slide. Coming to the marine ornament fish, I have already explained you. The CMFRA has already standardized the technology for two commercial species, that is dam shell and clownfish. And under PMMS also, the government of India is promoting the private entrepreneurs to set up this ornamental fish units for propagation and for on commercial scale. So the private entrepreneurs who are willing to take up this marine ornamental fish, they can avail the subsidy under PMMSST. Next slide, next please. And the SHGs and other self-help groups and the women groups can also be supported for this for taking up this marine ornamental fish. Next, coming to the challenges and way forwards. Though we are leading in the coastal aquaculture sector, we are facing so many constraints, and the sector is now in a deep crisis because of several reasons, and among them, the major constraints are. First one is the disease outbreaks. Every year, our farmers are they are facing nearly 6,000 to 8,000 crores loss due to crop losses, mainly because of this disease outbreaks. So now the entire industry is suffering greatly with the WSSV, APH, and EHP, white fecal syndrome virus, IHSNV. So that's why to screen the brood stock now we are importing. We are whatever the brood stock we are importing to in our country. We are screening that entire brood stock in our AKF facility. But still, the farmers are facing the problem of disease outbreaks. And in agriculture sector, all the agriculture crops are covered under Pradhan Mantri Fasal Bima Yojana. But on par with agriculture, this aquaculture sector is not covered under any aquaculture insurance policy, so that the farmers are not getting any compensation in the event of disease outbreaks. So these are the major challenges in aquaculture. So how to overcome these problems is, so we have to promote the farmers to stock only specific pathogen-free seed only. Before stocking, they should be advised to screen the seed for they should test in the PCR labs, and after negative reports only they have to stock the seed in their ponds. So the farmers they have to adopt best aquaculture practices. They should do culture in a scientific lines only. They have to comply all. They should establish all biosecurity measures, and they should strictly comply the biosecurity standards. And they have to use only quality and approved aqua inputs only. I have already told you the CAA is registering all the aquaculture inputs and issuing a certificate of compliance, and the farmer should use such only approved aqua inputs only, so that the produce cannot be affected with any adulterants or antibiotics. So next, the ICR institutions and other R&D institutions under selective breeding program, they should produce SPF broodstock and genetically improved broodstock. So they have to promote for supply and production of quality seed for the quality seed to the aquaculture farmers. So to effectively dealing the regulating the disease outbreaks, the NBFGR now they have under NASPAD project they have coordinating with all state departments, and they are collecting the samples, and regularly they are giving advisories to the state governments and farmers to overcome the disease outbreaks. So this NASPAD program needs to be intensified, and recently they have released one app also, report fish disease. So through this fish report disease, they can also upload the photos of their affected fish, and they can get the advisories to curtail that disease outbreaks, or to regulate the disease outbreaks. So that's why we should have a robust disease surveillance and monitoring program, for which the ICR institutes like CIFA, CIBA, NBFGR, and RGCA, they should all work together, and they should develop a robust mechanism to effectively dealing the regulating the disease outbreaks. So the government of India is also promoting the cluster approach in aquaculture pockets. So all the farmers are farming into aquaculture societies. Particularly RGCA is briskly working on this area. So they are farming all the farmers into aquaculture societies, and through aquaculture societies, they are building the capacities, and they are promoting the best aquaculture practices. And simultaneously, they are also supported with marketing linkages also. So the farmer should be advised with go for low stocking densities, because in Venami, the maximum stocking density allowed is 60 per meter square. That is, they can stock up to 6 lakhs per hectare. But if they stock more, they have to provide feed intensively. So ultimately, it is leading to the pollution of the water bodies, and it is causing disease outbreaks also. We have to suggest the farmers to go for low stock densities only. And alternative cropping is other remedy for regulating the disease outbreaks. And the government of India now, this NFDB, National Fishery Development Board, they have already implemented this aquaculture insurance policy in a pilot basis. So they have selected some farmers and they are implementing that aquaculture crop insurance policy needs to be scaled up to cover large scale of farmers. Next, please. So another challenging area is increasing input cost. So every year the input cost is increasing. That particularly the cost of seed, feed, and the other healthcare products, the cost is increasing year by year. But whereas the harvested crop, the farmers on harvested crop, the farmers are not getting any remunerative price on par with the increase on the input cost. So ultimately, they are getting very low margins, and that's why some of the farmers they are withdrawing from the costly aquaculture. That is one of the major constraint, because the feed cost is increasing year by year. So the farmers they are investing nearly 60% of their production cost on the feeds only. So they should be encouraged to develop their own farm feeds, and they have to broadcast in their ponds so that they can reduce some production cost. Ultimately, they will get the good profits on their harvested crop. So the next challenge is rejection of consignments due to presence of antibiotics. This is one of the major tasks and the constraint that is facing by the now the shrimp industry. So the importing country, they are screening nearly 50% of the total samples, total consignments there for antibiotic residues. Even Japan, they are testing 100% for Venami. And these some countries like Australia, Saudi Arabia, China, Canada, Australia, they are testing even for pathogens also. If any positive result out there, they immediately they are rejecting the consignments. Ultimately, the farmers, the exporters, they are losing so much of financial. They ultimately they are losing so much of amount due to rejection of consignments. So, moreover, this Ecuador, the Ecuador, Thailand, and Vietnam. These are the three countries are the major competitors for the India, and they are producing more shrimp and they are dumping in the international market, particularly in USA and the EU. So these are the major competitor countries, and they are dumping this material as per their requirement with lower price compared to our shrimp cost. So most of the foreign countries, importing countries, they are preferring to take this shrimp material from these three countries. So these are the major countries. These are the three major countries which are competing with India. So we need to advise the farmers for and how to go about it to overcome all these problems. So we need to promote the farmers to go for formulated feeds using the formulas, technical support given by the ICEBA. They have already developed the formulas for different species. So by having MOU with the SEBA, the farmers can get the formula of that feeds and they can prepare the farm feeds with low cost. So we need to strictly regulate the spurious seeds, particularly seed, feed, and other healthcare products. For that, in every district, some task force committee should be constituted, and all the aquaculture inputs should be certified with some BAP certification, best BAP certification, so that the farmers they have to be encouraged to use this only approved products only. So the CA, Coastal Aquaculture Authority, as of now, banned 20 antibiotics and other pharmacologically active substances, because this antibiotics is creating is leading to antimicrobial resistance. So that means whenever we use this antibiotics, the animals they are developing resistance and they are not responding to the antibiotics whatever you apply in the system. So ultimately, it is leading to the antimicrobial resistance. So the residues of antibiotics in the shrimp ultimately cause health hazards to the consumers. So that's why the WHO, World Health Organization, they have advised all the countries to have their own action plans for strictly regulating this antimicrobial resistance. Actually, this antimicrobial resistance is the surrounding animals also, they also this antimicrobial resistance is affecting other microorganisms also through genetical transfer and mutations. So we strictly need to contain this, regulate this antimicrobial resistance in the particularly in the coastal aquaculture water bodies. So that is as per the WHO also, this is one of the mandate. So if we don't undertake any stringent measures to contain this antimicrobial resistance. Ultimately, all our consents will be rejected by the importing countries. For that, the CAA and the MPDA RGCA, we are regularly collecting the samples, and we are sending the samples for analysis under NRCP program, National Residue Control Program, and the EAA also collecting the samples from exporters, processors under IASSF project, and we are analyzing all these samples. Wherever the positive result is there, immediately we are penalizing against that concerned farms or hatcheries or exporters. So under various programs. So to avoid the rejection of consignments by the importing countries, the MPDA needs to screen all the consignments, which are the consignments that are good for that are meant for exporting. All the consignments are subject to 100% screening, so that we can avoid the rejection of consignments due to antibiotic residues. Next slide, please. So this is the 20 types of antibiotics and other pharmacological active substances banned by the CAA. So all these antibiotics are not supposed to apply in the aquaculture. Actually, there is no any specific drug or antibiotic for uses in aquaculture. So these are all veterinary grade drugs. So our farmers, they are using all these veterinary grade drugs to regulate the disease outbreaks. That is not correct. So after using these drugs, antibiotics, banned antibiotics, it is creating a lot of problems, and ultimately it is the consignments are rejecting by the importing countries. They before accepting that material, they will judiciously, very judiciously, they will screen all these consignments for antibiotic residues. If any positive result is there, or if even any pathogen is there in the stream, immediately they will reject the consignments without making any compensation. So ultimately, that entire loss has to be borne by the concerned exporter only. So in addition to that, the exporter will also place that exporter under blacklist. So he cannot further he cannot export any consignments to that particular country. So this is the problems that our exporters are facing now. Next. So we should judiciously handle this antimicrobials. So there are other alternatives also there for this one. So we need to promote and probiotics, prebiotics, and bacteriophages are there. Vaccination also now recently it is coming. So and herbal medicines are also coming. So all these products we need to promote in the place of antibiotics. So this is some of the points from my side. So I have, because only 15 minutes time only allotted for me, so within time, so I want to complete my presentation. So if any queries are there, any doubts are there, kindly raise. I'm here to clarify your doubts. This PPT, as I have already shared to your Swami, you can also get the PPT from your professor. Many students. Actually, I would like to thank all the event organizers also for inviting me as a speaker. Actually, I'm involving in Viksit Bal Sankalpa Yatra. That's why I could not able to attend physically. And certainly, I hope that definitely we will meet in some other occasion, and we will have a very fruitful discussion also. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for your very informative presentation and showing us the overview of coastal aquaculture in India, sir. Thank you, sir. Now we are moving to the next presentation.
You are not audible, sir. Please unmute your speaker.
Thank you, sir, for your informative presentation, and thank you for taking us to overview of the coastal aquaculture in India. Thank you, sir. Now we are moving to the next presentation by
Thank you so
Dr.
much. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you, Ananda. Thank you.
Bharati.
Easier.
Now I request Dr. Elliot Singh to hand over. Now I invite Dr. Uma Madam to hand over the memento to Mr. Bharati. So next presentation is from Dr. L. Lawson Edward. He is going to talk on climate resilient aquaculture. Now I wish to introduce Dr. L. Lawson Edward. He is our alumni member. Please maintain silence backside. After working for a short span of time in shrimp farming industry, he joined Indian Council of Agriculture Research in 2009 and working in Central Marine Fisheries Research Institute since 2010 on fisheries environment management. He worked on aquatic environment management for the past 13 years at its regional center in Visakhapatnam. As a team member involved in research and development works covering the areas of monitoring the hydrobiology of coastal and marine environment and its assessment, pollution and litter in critical habitats, fishing grounds and recreational beaches, fabrication and deployment of artificial reefs for marine fisheries management, marine fisheries policy and water quality requirements for mariculture. Now I invite Dr. L. Lawson Edward to deliver the lecture.
Thank you, Dr. Selvaraj. Am I audible? I will present. Whether my slides are visible? Whether my slides are visible? I have started sharing the screen. At least my screen is there.
Can you share the screen?
Yeah, I'm doing, sir. I'm doing.
Okay.
Selvaraj for introducing me. Uh, I'm here to present on the topic of climate resilient aquaculture. Next slide, please. So, as we all know that our world population is expanding nearly by 2 billion persons in the next 30 years. So current protein demand is also increasing due to the increase in population. But we all know fish is the cheapest source of protein source. But the fish what we are getting to our human needs is mostly from capture fisheries and as well as from culture fisheries. But capture fisheries is just um, getting that fish the harvested from sea. So and that's day by day it is decreasing. So mostly we are nowadays mostly depending on the aquaculture for the increasing the fish production to meet the global demand for protein, that is that to quality protein. Next one. But this aquaculture is mainly affected by climate change. So this climate change is one of the global concern causing wide range of problems, not only for aquaculture sector but for many sector. Out of that, aquaculture is also one. According to IPCC report, it says around 1.5 degree there will be an increase that will be between 2030 to 2052. So at the present rate of around zero point 0.8 to 1.2 degrees C. So this is what so we may think this is a very small amount of temperature it is increasing, but if you see the physiological process of fish, so it actually for every 1 degree change in its body temperature, it gets affected by its physiological process gets affected by 6 to 10%. So mostly we know fishes are phyclotherms, not like our body. We can regulate the temperature, body temperature. Fishes cannot regulate the body temperature. So every change in the environment temperature will definitely affect the is going to affect the physiological process of fish. So it needs energy. It needs energy to I mean whenever there is an increase in water temperature, whenever there is a change in the physiological process, the fish has to uh, means it is going to affect the metabolism of fish. And definitely when we are culturing the fishes in the ponds, it is not only fish, it's actually the environment also contains so many bacteria which is actually responsible for keeping the other environmental factors in control, so that nitrification process will also get affected whenever there is change in the water temperature. Next slide, please. So what to do now? So we have to pose these challenges which are to coming towards the aquaculture. So we need to be proactive. So we need to choose any resilient culture technology in the in the face of we are getting so much environmental changes. So on this so under this changing environmental conditions, our focus should be on either climate resilient aquaculture or climate smart aquaculture. So uh, whenever we are doing, we should also have a concern towards our environment. So we should minimally try to you try to means mostly whenever there is a uh, query about aquaculture, they will tell it's polluting the environment. So many things. So in future when we are planning for any aquaculture development, so we should keep an eye on the environment also. So concentrate on reduction of this climate change impacts and avoid contribution. So we should not contribute more towards the climate change. As already that due to climate change we are getting affected. So our aquaculture practices should not contribute towards the climate change. So that is what the climate resilient aquaculture or climate smart aquaculture means. Next one. Slide. So the key aspects in the climate resilient aquaculture are we have to do a proper site, so that should not be get affected by climate change. We cannot predict any really unfavorable conditions like what in the recent heavy floods we are getting. So that whatever site you select, it cannot actually withstand. But at least our site should withstand the regular cyclonic disturbances and uh, other climate changes. It should actually able to withstand that things. Means unprecedented, we cannot, that is not in our hands. At least due to the regular monsoon, regular cyclone, it should not get affected. So such a site you should select. And diversification of species, so that species also should be resilient in nature. We should be effective in using our water. We should go for any alternate feed which is actually having a good FCR. So disease management, this is also one more thing. We know that actually the host pathogen environment concept. So definitely environment is going to play a major role in avoiding diseases and in early detection and in monitoring also. And the last one is the community involvement. So we should actually train our people, and we should give awareness what are the types of practices of aquaculture we are following, and how actually it will actually affect the environment. So if the people are aware, they will not commit such problems or such things in their practices of aquaculture. Next one. So there are different climate resilient farming technologies, starting from recirculatory aquaculture, IMTA, raceways, aquaponics, bioflux, integrated fish farming, wastewater aquaculture. So in our CMFRI, we are mostly doing recirculatory aquaculture system. IMTA also we are following. So raceways till now in CMFRI we have not tried. Means for research purpose we might have tried, but not into the full mark. That other things, other aquaponics, bioflug, integrated, I am just giving an introduction only. Mostly I will be dealing about RAS and IMTA things what we are doing in CM4A. Next one. So recirculatory aquaculture system. So in this one, the fishes are cultured in water, which is actually serially reconditioned, and again it is reused. So these are the different types of species which are presently in the world. They are involving in the recirculatory aquaculture system practices. As we all know, this RAS system is having a series of different water treatment things, starting from a drum filter, then followed by any UV or ozone or any settlement tank, and then after that it will be followed by any protein skimmer or oxygenator, or removing the carbon dioxide. Then it comes to biofilter, then actually it goes back to the tank in which what we are culturing the fishes. So this RAS is actually environmentally sustainable, and when we are comparing other system of aquaculture, this actually requires 90 to 99 percentage less water than any other aquaculture system. In world level, there are very advanced aquaculture uh, recirculatory aquaculture systems are available, and nowadays people are actually choosing that. It's actually little bit, if you are seeing, it needs some energy, like electrical energy, because it needs a lot of running of motor, and sometimes even for the protein skimmer also needs, and UV or ozone production also needs. So in that way, if you are seeing the amount of water which we are using, and the density of fish we are culturing in the RAS, so if you are comparing everything, so this is actually a sustainable method. If you see alone on the how much quantity of electricity or other things, if you are using that, maybe it may look little on the higher side, but the amount of product what we are getting, so if that product, if you would have cultured in an um, um, traditional system, so definitely the energy utilization for that and the water used for that will be much higher when compared to the RAS system. Next slide. So it is actually used for maximizing the production in a very limited space with less water usage, higher stocking density, and manpower also can be heavily reduced, because mostly it will be automated system having a means like a drum filter for reducing the temperature, you will have a protein skimmer, you will have a biological filter. So everything it can run automatically with a limited manpower. The next one. So this is actually a comparison of water requirement for different fish culture system. From the I took a source from Michael B. Timmons 2014. It's based on an RAS booklet. It actually compares different system of pond culture, raceway culture, then in shrimp and in the nine tilapia, then in that same thing in the RAS system. So how much production they are getting from every year, and what is the water required. So you yourself can see how much uh, yeah, tilapia RAS is giving as a production with how much very less water. So this itself is a proof for telling that our RAS is a water efficient system. The next one, please. Then depending on the marine finfish, you can see around 10 to 20 liter only it needs for 1 kg production of marine fishes like sea bass and sea bream. In case of pangasius, it is still lesser, and tilapia also it will be almost similar. The next one. So this is actually the model which we are having in our CMF array. Presently, we have not gone into the commercial, means not in the sense of commercial, means direct uh, uh, production system for selling of fishes. Presently, we are having for brood stock as well as for nursery. We are having a full-fledged RAS that was partly supported by NFDB. So this actually is fully indigenous. We have just taken the components from different things like yeah, rapid sand filter, and the protein skimmer is our own design, and the biological filter is also our own design. So we are not having any such thing like what the commercial RAS which is supplied by different foreign countries. It will have a different oxygenation system, then a carbon dioxide stripping system, and then an UV ozone. So everything whatever we have designed is our own technique. So it's very low cost around only 12 lakhs per system. So it's having a component of tank with a rapid sand filter, then a protein skimmer and a biological filter, only this much. So in this one we will have a conserve water and avoid contamination, and we are getting a successful breeding for two different finfishes. Now a third addition also is there. The two different finfishes are our grouper Epinephrus squioides, then Trachinotus mucali, that is Indian pompano, and the third one we are having a red snapper, that is John snapper, that is Lujanus joni. So it is suitable for a broodstock development of 1 kg per meter cube and for production of around 25 kg per meter cube. Usually the RAS systems are mentioned by their capacity of the quantity of feed which is going on per day. So like 15 kg per day. So because most of the RAS system, since it is a broodstock, we are having an rapid sand filter. But in the case of a regular production system, we should have a drum filter, because this rapid sand filter will get immediately clogged, because once in a day only we can do a backwash for this system. But in the case of drum filter, regularly the dust or the suspended solids or the fecal matter which is getting collected in the drum filter gets removed immediately, so that there will not be a blockage in the drum filter. But in our another model, we are, before bringing it to an drum filter, we are also having a small settlement tank or a sedimentation tank. So in that one, mostly the suspended solids and the fecal matter gets sediment in the sediment, means it gets settled. Only the top water which comes to the drum filter. So our pressure on drum filter is very very less. So we are regularly conducting training on this circulatory aquaculture system also. In the next year also, in the January February phase also, we are conducting. So anyone who is interested also very much welcome to visit our facility and undergo the training. So mostly they will tell on the basis of kg feed, how much kg feed this system can consume. So if it is increasing that threshold limit, definitely the control over ammonia, nitrate, it will not be there in this RAS system. So you should be careful. Never the quantity of feed in the system should not increase. So here, and the second one in the RAS is the maintenance of DO and other nutrient parameters, because there will be a heavy pressure towards the DO requirement, not only from the fish what we are culturing. You can see for every kg of feed consumes 0.25 gram of oxygen in the regular production system. And apart from the feed, we are having bacteria also. So the bacteria also consumes both heterotrophic as well as the beneficial bacteria what we are having in our system for our biofilter, as well as which is inside the system also consumes a huge quantity of oxygen. So the oxygen consumption also have to be taken care. Then the third one is the removal of carbon dioxide. So in the system what we are having a type of protein skimmer that not only skims protein but also helps in removing the excess carbon dioxide which is present in the system. So our that system is able to do the dual purpose. And one more thing, the ozone injection into the system, we are keeping in such a place that ozone is also helping us in reducing the nutrient parameter in our system. So in this all together, our system is helping efficiently in managing the nutrient parameters as well as the oxygen and the well-being of the fishes. The next one. So in this way, you can see the efficiency of our RAS. It's having 87% efficiency in removing the tan, 81% for nitrite, then free carbon dioxide and dissolved oxygen. So we used to mostly top up. This top up is also mostly due to any cleaning of the our filters or other things. So through that backwash, sometimes we may be losing this thing, and also due to evaporation loss. So only this much only we used to top up every day. So the cost of installation for the system in total, it means apart from the earlier I told 12 lakhs, that is for the concrete systems, whichever I have told. This 4 lakh is for the components of the RAS. So a running expenditure every day, it will have only a 36 kilowatt, that is 36 units per day. So this is our advantage of our design of our RAS. The next one, please. The next one will be on the integrated multi-trophic aquaculture. So we all know that the fin fishes which are fed in the cages, definitely it will leave any uneaten feed, then the and fecal matter, everything. See, this is actually not only in the cage. Sometimes I have even seen such a type of integrated systems in even in the shrimp farm also. They used to have a twin pond system which is having a bottom drainage system. So usually they used to remove the uneaten feed, debris, and even our the fecal matter also, that goes to another pond. That pond will have a settlement area followed by molluscans, then milk fishes. So such a system is even available in the brackish water shrimp farming system also. So this works on the principle of trophic levels with complementary ecosystem. So it allows one species uneaten feed and waste to be the nutrients, and it actually works as a byproduct, and it is actually recaptured and utilized by other crops such as our molluscan shells, then in the nutrients by the seaweed. So the organic waste mostly it is taken by the shellfishes, and the inorganic things it goes to the, as a fertilizer for the seaweed. Next one, please. Next one. Yeah, this is actually a, sorry, back. This is actually a comparison between IMTA, that is integrated multi-tropic aquaculture seaweed rafts, and the non-IMTA raft. So in mostly in integrated multi-tropic aquaculture, we used to tie the cage raft surrounding our cages. So these cages are around 6-meter dia cages. Either it can be a GI cage or it can be a high density polyethylene cages. So mostly in the Mandapam area, since it is a very calm, so we are using a bamboo raft. But in the case of our Andhra Pradesh, Visakhapatnam, we are using a tube method, which is actually tied to the frames of the cages, and it will be in by the side, or either it will be inside part of the cages. So we are doing in both the methods. In the type of rafts in the area where having calm waters, and using a net tube method in the case of rough seas also. We have tried. So in the case of bamboo raft, it is 12 by 12 feet bamboo raft, and the cages are here we are using a GI cage of 6-meter diameter. So that is mostly stocked with either 750 to 1000 numbers of cobia fingerling. This is actually I'm showing an example, but we have used for Indian pampana also. So Indian pampana also we have stocked around 1000 numbers of fingerlings in cages with the surrounding seaweed culture as part of IMTA. So this seaweed can be harvested for every 45 days. So mostly this cobia or pompano culture we are doing for around 6 to 7 months. So we can do around 4 cycles in a row for our seaweed farming along with our finfish culture. So by inoculating around 60 to 80 gram of seaweed, so we got around 260 kg in the IMTA rafts and around only 150 kg in the case of non-IMTA raft. That is without IMTA raft. So we are getting almost 4 times production in the case of IMTA cages from the uh, seed material what we have craft. So an additional 110 kg per raft we are getting in the IMTA method when compared to a non-IMTA method. Next slide, please. So we can see dried seaweed means around 10 percentage moisture we are getting around 1280 kg, and whether it is 560 kg only in the case of IMTA. So these are the price realized from that dry seaweed. So a net profit also we are getting around 67 percentage of profit, whether in the case of non-IMTA we are getting only 26 percentage. Next one. So this we can see as a fresh seaweed means there I have shown the dried material. So here it's the actual material. So the in the case of dried harvested percentage we are getting around a carbon content of around 19 percentage carbon content. So the amount of carbon sequestered we can see around 223 kg we got, whereas in the non-IMTA we are getting only 100 kg. So this is definitely a climate smart technology what we are promoting in the name of IMTA. The next one, please. So the next one is raceway. This actually the raceway cultures are mostly going on for marine and other things in the other foreign countries. So here there is actually a continuous flow of water is necessary. Otherwise, sometimes it is kept in a recirculate means circular way. This way we have tried in the case of microalgae. We have not yet tried in the case of marine finfishes. But for marine shrimps, people are trying and they are getting very good result. Nearby Tutugurin, some people are trying for marine microalgae, this raceway system. So this is actually also helpful in getting higher quantity of production when compared to a normal pond method. So this raceway actually will be helping in the higher density production when compared to ponds. So mostly it is used in rectangular basin with a curved edge that actually will help in a smooth movement of water. So thereby the water movement is continuous, and that also helps in maintaining the DO, and that it creates an environment which is actually good for the culture of shrimps or marine fishes. Next one. Yeah. The next one is the aquaponics. So it's actually an integration of hydroponics with aquaculture. So it's actually getting the plants are getting the nutrients from our fish waste and the excess feed. So this actually helps in controlling the nitrate and uh, ammonia in the our incoming water, and it takes up and it gives back only nitrate, which is actually comparatively less toxic to fish, but it actually forms a good fertilizers for the plants. So this economic viability of this aquaponics, because so many people are talking about aquaponics, but some are telling no, it's actually not giving a commercial level production. So mostly these aquaponics are energy intensive method. So if we are solving this problem by using a renewable energy source, definitely this aquaponic is going to fetch a lot of popularity, and in future this comes up in a very nice way. Next slide, please. So thanks for these slides from my colleague from SIFA. Actually, he has provided these photographs. So they have actually tried a method called NFT. So that actually gives a very good production of these vegetables as well as flowering plants in the aquaponics system. So they are actually telling that it gives around 34% higher growth in fishes in aquaponic tanks when compared to the regular tank. So they are having culturing the fishes like anabas as well as Oreochromis niloticus also they have tried, and they found a good production in both in the flowering plants, vegetables as well as in the fishes. Next slide, please. So this bioflok, I no need to tell much about this because farmers are practicing a lot in this bioflok technology. So bioflok is not, actually a little bit related to RAS because this also needs to have a co-culture of heterotrophic bacteria and algae under control condition. So it will be, everything will be in the pond itself. In the case of RAS, it will be in a circulation pattern and every thing will be in a different place. But everything here in the bioflok technology, everything will be inside our pond. So this microbial biomass is very much essential for the success of this bioflok technology. So the intensive growth of heterotrophic bacteria not only helps, but at the same time it consumes oxygen also. So we have to be careful when we are doing this bioflok technology. We should have a method for inputting fresh oxygen at every time to maintain both the fishes as well as this heterotrophic bacteria. So we need to maintain the bacterial quantity in this one, so that there will be a little or very less water exchange will be done in this bioflok method. Next one. So in the integrated farming, mostly it is practiced in the freshwater systems with either with a 2-tier or 3-tier. Means it will involve either fish, crop, or fish, livestock, or all the three: fish, crop, and livestock. So this system actually helping to achieve very high level of production for all the three components of crop, fish, as well as to the livestock also. So yeah, standard models we could see in our colleges also, they are maintaining this integrated farming system. So I'm not talking much about this integrated farming system. Next one. So the last one is the wastewater aquaculture. So that actually mostly practiced in West Bengal area. So here also the water is recycled using different means. You must have visited the sewage treatment plant available in the spic or the tag premises, where you can see the sludge and everything will be removed, and the BOD less water will be used for planting trees and other things. The same water here in the West Bengal area and in the SIFA premises, in the SIFA Rahara campus, they are actually doing this wastewater aquaculture system. So actually this involves a lot of preliminary treatment, then primary treatment, secondary treatment. Sometimes they need an advanced treatment also if there is a lot of bacteria or other things are available. The final treated water will be used for the culturing fishes and other things. Then the sludge and other things which is removed from this wastewater system can be used as a manure for crops and other things, whereas the water will be used for the culture of fishes. And after culturing, the water will be released into the open water bodies, or any other further treatment also they will be doing. So this is that's it about the different climate resilient farming technology. So I thank my director for allowing me to participate or present this topic in this Pond Shrimp conference. Then I thank my head and the staff of VRC CMFRI who are helping me in different research works. Thanks for Atlas. Thanks for the organizers for giving an opportunity to present in the Pond Shrimp conference. Thank you. I think I am able to finish it in time.
Thank you, Dr. Lawson, for very informative and useful talk.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
am actually very much interested to interact with your students, but I am not able to present in person there. Tutukurin College I have visited a lot, but our Ponneri College I have not visited. Let me try in a future occasion to visit the campus and interact with the students.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We are waiting, sir. Thank you, sir.
Yeah, thank you. Shall I leave?
Yes, sir. You can leave, sir.
Yeah, thank you very much. Thank you, madam. Thank you, the organizers.
So thank you, sir.
Yeah.
farmers. And proper disease management strategies could be undertaken in agriculture systems based on the knowledge and the awareness of the diseases and their mode of transmission. Hence, the farmers should be made more aware about the disease management through various methods, including the use of health apps on the commercially important diseases in aquaculture. Creating awareness among the aqua farmers on the various welfare schemes implemented by the Department of Fisheries and Fishermen Welfare is very important to increase aquaculture activities in the identified potential area that are suitable for aqua farming by the department. Application of artificial intelligence and IoT to undertake unmanned operations in the aquaculture practices like water quality monitoring, automated feeding based on demand, assessing the health of the shrimp will help in smart fish farming operations, which will improve the country's aquaculture production. Awareness on various guidelines implemented by CAA should be provided provided to the aqua farmers to undertake environment and export safe aquaculture products and schemes implemented under PMMSY. Mr. Kumaresan, Chief Guest, stressed on the expansion of shrimp farming by bringing in and encouraging the SPF, rootstock of Penaeus morador and Penaeus epicus. A balance in production and demand could be made possible by utilizing the shrimp species, earmarking specific areas for culture and effective feeding and management. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. I request Mr. K. Karpasamy, co-convener, to present a memento to our beloved Dean, Dr. Cheryl Anthony. I invite Mr. K. Karpasamy, co-convener, to deliver the vote of thanks.
Good evening to all. On behalf of organizing committee, it is my privilege to propose a vote of thanks on this occasion. I express my gratitude and respect for our distinguished Chief Guest, Mr. A. Kumaresan sir, Senior Deputy General Manager, Technical, Pan India Head, Shenglong Biotech Private Limited. So, sir, whenever we asking help, so sir gives always 100% support to us. So, thank you, sir. Thank you for our accepting our invitation during our busy schedule. On behalf of our organizing committee, I convey my deep regards and hearty thanks to our Honorable Vice Chancellor, Dr. N. Felix sir, for your guidance and support. Thank you, sir. I am very much thankful for our beloved Dean and convener of this PONSHRIMP', Dr. Cheryl Anthony Madam, for your constant help and guidance throughout the program. Thank you, ma'am. I would like to thank eminent speakers, Dr. P. Chidambaram sir, Director in charge, DIVA, and Director in charge, DSSR, DNJFU, and Dr. K. Shankar, Principal Scientist, ICR CBAS, Chennai, Dr. Uma Madam, Professor and Head, Aquatic Animal Health Management, Mr. V. Lamak Jaikumar, Deputy Director, Department of Fisheries and Fishermen Welfare, Dr. P. Nilareka, Principal Scientist, ICR CBA, and Dr. Lawson L. Edward, Senior Scientist, ICR CMFRA Vizag, and Dr. P. Sankar Rao, Director Technical, CAA Chennai, for your thought-provoke lecture and also that your elaborate lecture towards PONSHRIMP' in aquaculture sector. And I am very much thankful to our all organizing committee chairmen, faculty colleagues, and non-teaching staff members who always stand by us and motivate us. And I feel proud and thank you for making this event successful one. And I would like to thank session chair Dr. Uma Madam and rapporteurs Dr. Selvaraj sir and Mrs. Nimish Moul Stephen Madam and MC Dr. Elisa Rassi for your constant support to this program. Then I thank especially Digital Blue team members and press for your support for this live streaming. And I am very much thankful to our sponsoring agencies like gold sponsors NFDB, CAA, VGP Marine Kingdom, and Gayatri Biopolytech Farms, and bronze sponsors Synergy Private Limited and VK Scientific, and other sponsors LIFCO and SSK Scientific. It would have been impossible to organize it without their support. Thank you. I thank all of the participants from various colleges like Alarapa University, Madras University, and Diva DNJFU Muttukadu, and IPGS Vani Javadi, then BO Madhavaram for your interest showed to us this workshop. Thank you. Then last but not least, I would like to thank all of our PG and PhD UG students, particularly graduate students for working as a volunteers. Then thank you for all of your cooperations, and thanks to all of you for making this event successful. Thank you.
Thank you, Karpasamy. I kindly request everyone to rise for the national anthem. On behalf of Dr. MGR Fisheries College and Research Institute, Poneri, we thank you one and all for your active participation and valuable inputs. Thank you. Kindly collect your certificates.
ஹரிஷ் பின்னாடி அந்த போஸ்டர் வைட்டு